So I just hit over $10,000 from my agency that I started a couple months ago, and I wanted to give you guys 6 lessons learned, like hard lessons that I have learned in such a short period of time, because it's only really been a couple of months. But I really wanted to give you guys some pointers to see like if this is something that you're interested in running, or if this is a business or something you're really debating on starting. I want to give you guys, because I'm earlier in my journey, so I can give you guys some pointers to make sure that you guys don't hit these things along your way with you getting started, and it's something that you can keep in mind as you can start building your thing. So the first one I really wanted to start off with, because this is like, I know it's a tried and true, like, oh my God, like no shit, but it's so true, like and you don't really know it until you experience it, right? The first one being, the lowest paying clients are the biggest pain in the asses. When I say they are a pain in the ass, man, they are such a pain in the ass. And the reason why, it's not them as a person. I just think that they get stressed about things very fast. They get emotional about things very fast. So when it comes to making business decisions, it makes it very challenging to communicate with them. And it's almost kind of like you become almost like a therapist in a way for them. Like if you're like an agency or you're running some sort of like business thing for them as a service, you almost become like a therapist in a way, and you're taking on problems that you should not be taking on as a business owner, mind you, right? So you become somebody where you're almost like coaching not only them on their business, but them as a person, because they are so new to business and you've seen what works and you know what works really well. But for some reason, like they are just emotionally and just financially just not mature enough to make decisions or make sound decisions. So you become a person where you're like trying to like keep it together, bro, because if you start crashing out, right, I'm gonna lose you as a client, right? So it's like you become this person where you're basically there to like coach them on their life and their business. And I'm telling you this because I have experienced this. So so prevent that. And the lowest paying clients, the guys who really just can't afford really to do much, stay away from them and save yourself the sanity, and make sure that you are actually vetting your clients and seeing where they are at in their journey of business. And it's funny because the second point that I actually made here is, if you don't qualify your clients, their problems become your problems, right? So if their sales process sucks, or if they're just inexperienced, or if they don't know what they're doing in a certain aspect that your service will then begin to highlight, it becomes your problem, right? Because say if you're running like some sort of marketing, or you're doing some sort of like lead process for your client, if you get them more leads and they don't have a sales process that is dialed in, their crappy sales process now becomes your problem because they don't already have it set up. So you either A, you need to provide the service that helps them resolve that issue, or B, you have the ability to coach them and tell them and basically show them like, bro, your sales process is whack, so you need to get your shit together or else you're losing deals, which I have personally experienced, right? What ended up happening was I got one of my clients more leads, and they were like, man, these leads aren't good. And I was like, they're not good. Okay, let me call them and see, who I can actually talk to see if they actually ended up buying something or buying something from someone else. And sure enough, I called some of these leads, and they were like, yeah, we ended up going with somebody else because the process was just too slow, or they were confused, right? They didn't know what was coming next. They would meet with the salesperson and they would be like, well, okay, well, I guess I need to go talk to somebody else because I clearly have no idea what's happening. So the sales process was whack, and I basically had to have a sit down with them and actually show them, like, yeah, the leads that you're saying aren't good, they are actually good because they're just going out and buying from somebody else. They're not buying from you. So that's a problem that you need to fix. Number 3, not all good money is good money. And I say this in regards to, like, if you're catching somebody, right, and they're like, hey, man, I'm just getting, if you run like a lead, type of service, like what I'm running, and they're like, hey man, I'm just getting started, right? But like I'll pay you, but basically they're paying you in regards to help them like grow from scratch. And if that is not something that your service or you are personally prepared for, that money may or may not be good money, because it comes with a lot of other issues and problems that you then have to solve, right? Because depending on where they're at in business, if they are somebody who's never really ran a business before, You are not only going to be the guy that's handing them leads, you're going to be the guy that's coaching them on how to run a business. Kind of going into the first point, you're going to become somebody who is basically coaching them, not only just for getting leads for what your original service was designed for, but now you're also becoming a coach for them in their business, in their sales process, in their in their systems, in their life, right? Like running a business, like keeping the wheels on, for them as a person. So just because somebody will actually pay you, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should absolutely do it, because you need to look at it from the perspective of, if I commit myself to this guy, because if you're taking money from someone, you have to commit yourself to it. And I have found myself in a situation where I'm like, I committed myself to helping someone in a situation like that, and it has turned out to be way more involved than I personally should have committed to. And I'm talking like hour-plus long phone calls on a daily basis almost, just like keeping the wheels on for them and basically coaching them along the way. So not all money is good money. Just because they even would have the money doesn't necessarily mean that you should take it. Number 4, systems and automations are your saving grace when it comes to time. And I know, because with my software engineering background and the automation stuff, AI and all that, all that stuff, when you get started running your business, some things aren't necessarily super obvious, right? Because you're just like in the weeds, right? You are just in the trenches, just trying to make something work and just make something happen. So like a lot of stuff isn't super obvious, but then as you go along, you start finding yourself doing repetitive things. And I'm at a point right now where I'm really needing to sit down and just do the automations and automate stuff and just make my life easier, because I'm finding myself doing a lot of things repetitively just because I'm just in the trenches so much. I'm just trying to get clients and just build something where I'm making money, right? And it's like I'm making money, but it's like you get to a point where it's like you're just in the trenches so much, you need to kind of step back for a minute. And I honestly need to take my own advice right now, where you need to step back for a minute and actually look at your business and be like, okay, how can I save myself the time, especially in fulfillment? How can I save myself the time in fulfillment? And the things that are not scalable, how can I start trying to make my life a little bit easier and automate things or systematize something, because I haven't hired anybody yet. I'm really trying to fight, the payroll battle when it comes to running a service business. How can I automate that thing or alerts or systems or something so that I can sit down and just have things that I need to knock out, so that I'm not so sporadic with the fulfillment and the things that I'm trying to do for my clients. Which then that point kind of leads into the 5th one that I have is absolutely do the unscalable, right? Alex Hormozi, all the big guys talk about doing the unscalable and then worrying about it later. Yes, you need to do it scalable, but you need to be prepared depending on what thing is unscalable. Like for me, it's like we're handling booking appointments, setting appointments, doing follow-ups for all of my clients. That's insanely unscalable because I'm just one guy. Because not only do I need to do the sales process and run my actual business, but then for each and every client, I'm doing their follow-ups. I am booking their appointments, setting them up. I'm this setter that's setting them up with these appointments. And then I also need to be following up with all the people who are coming through. That is ridiculously unscalable. And honestly, the only way that you can really knock that out is either I'm doing it and have a super efficient way to do it, or I bring someone on. But I'm really trying to fight hiring people, because in a service-based business, one of the killers to your profitability is just having a ridiculous amount of payroll. So I'm really trying to fight that. So do the unscalable, but you need to be prepared that you're going to be going crazy with the unscalable stuff. You're going to be frantic, and there's going to be stuff that's going to be falling through the cracks. So that's why I'm saying with the other point is that you need to be able to systematize and automate that stuff in order to save your sanity, right? So before you start just hiring people out. But things are going to get crazy really fast depending on how many clients or how much scale that you're experiencing. So you need to be kind of fighting that, as you go along the way, because it's like you're going to be in the trenches, focusing on just doing fulfillment and getting clients. But then you also need to have the opportunity to step back and actually, how do I look at the unscalable stuff and make that more scalable? And my 5th and final point, and this is a banger, honestly, selling to business owners is easy if you can have them feeling the money and experiencing the money that their business will have, or experience as a whole, your service, that your service is going to give them. Because when you're selling to business owners, especially if you're in the service industries or something like that, It's easier to sell to them if you can basically run the numbers with them. Say they're doing like $1 million a year, $2 million a year, and you're like, hey, this is what it's going to look like, and this is how you can get, to $3 or $4 million a year, right? And you can put it on paper and talk to them and explain it to them in jargon and just in ways that they speak to where it's so insanely digestible. They're like, man, that makes sense. Like they're just sitting there and they're like, that's kind of a no-brainer. Like I was on a phone call yesterday because I'm doing SMS campaigns. And I got on the phone with a guy. I called him, after he said he was interested. And I explained it to him and he was like, it's almost like that you want to give, here, I'll give you an example. You want to give your prospects the opportunity to, because I'm going to act like them, right? To where they can sit back and go like, holy shit, that makes sense. Why have I not done that yet? Like it's you explain it in a way that is so insanely easy that they can quickly and easily see it in their mind's eye and experience, okay, I'm doing $1 million a year. How do I get to $2 million a year? And they're like, oh, like I could easily understand why that would get to $2 million a year. Like that's kind of a no-brainer. As soon as you can give them the experience to where they can taste, they can feel, and they can see what it's like. And then you if you really want to kill it, you get them speaking as if they're already there, right? And that's when you know you got them. When they're starting to speak like, okay, like I'm gonna have to hire more guys, like I can maybe do $1 million here, and then, well, I could scale this to like $1 million doing like paid ads and $1 million, doing in a service. When they start speaking in a way of like, they're already there and they're already like preparing mentally like what they're gonna do, that's when you know you got them. And if you can get someone in your sales process, when you're selling B2B guys, that's going to be money. If you can find a way to explain it and have them, it's so simply, and have them experience it and understand it in their mind's eye, your sales process, you're going to crush it on the sales side. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I hope that you guys appreciate this stuff. I hope that it's actually useful for you. If this is something that you guys appreciate, or if you have any questions on the stuff that I went over here, shoot a comment down below. Make sure you like the video because that helps me out a ton, especially getting my channel started. And if you are interested in kind of getting into like maybe the automation stuff, systematized stuff, like tech stuff, trying to make some money, with your coding or technical background or software engineering background, that's all the stuff I'm going to be covering, in this channel, is helping you guys just understand where I'm at and where I'm going. And the things that I'm doing and implementing in my business today in order to help you guys out and just, grow my brand in general as a person who's doing this stuff. So if you guys are interested in stuff like that, comment, like maybe other videos you guys would want to see, and make sure you subscribe for future videos. I'll see you guys next time.